Welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast with author Sarah F. Hathaway and co-host Chen Gibson. Blending survival, fiction, and fact to bring you entertaining education that will help you dream, survive, and thrive. And now, here's your host, Sarah F. Hathaway and Chen Gibson.
Hello, and welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast. This is episode number 344. Hey, Chen, what's up?
Hey, boo-boo.
Barely made it today. I was thinking about the good opener, too. I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh, my
We're just going to have a bear of a show today. I don't know if you can bear us.
Pack your lunch basket.
Yeah.
Don't tell Ranger.
It's a picnic trip. We're having us a picnic basket.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, well, it's nice to talk about and think about like hiking and just enjoying nature and chilling instead of
Natural catastrophes instead of man-made ones.
yes, instead of all of the wonderful things that are happening in our great country right now.
Ugh.
Yeah, Ellen's like, yeah, Australia's giving us back tax money and stuff because they know how hard it is with inflation and everything. I'm like, oh, really? Because Biden just suggested the biggest tax hike ever. And this thing, it's called unrealized gains, where they can tax you on money you haven't even made yet. It's so epic. I'm just like, oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, thought crimes are next, right?
Yeah, I mean, literally, that if you haven't heard about the unrealized gains thing, you should go check that out because it's...
Can I do unrealized losses?
No,
And,
no. Actually, you can't do unrealized losses, only unrealized gains. So, if you bought your house
a little
for
lopsided.
$200,000, now it's worth $300,000. Well, you have $100,000 worth of unrealized gains.
Yeah.
That you can be taxed.
What if you didn't sell it yet?
That doesn't matter. You still have them. So, because everybody's got an extra like 10 grand just lying around in their pocket.
I can't spend that. I can't go to like the car dealer and say, look, I got $100,000 in
Go look it up. Go look it up. I
mean, I could get like a home loan, but then I'm on the stick for it. So It's not like...
I know, but they're not even talking about these things because, Chris Rock got slapped. So that's way more important. And what else?
Do we even have to mention that? Why you had to mention it,
right? Well, we got to give you smoke and mirrors. Yeah. So seriously, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go check that out for yourself. That's quite an interesting little ditty there. I was like, well, you'll own nothing and be happy about it within 8 years. So. They're on track. Anyway, today we're taking a break from all that stuff, and we're talking bears. Bears.
Bear with us.
Bear with us. It's going to be a long show. No, so in our read in Little House in the Big Woods, it's called Two Big Bears, and actually pretty cool stories.
Yeah, it's kind of funny after the fact.
Right? Yeah, it's always funny after the fact. Like, once everything's okay, then it's like, wow, that just happened. So
every good story starts with the possibility of loss of life and limb, right?
That's right. That's how every good insurance claim starts, too.
Is that your new ad campaign?
Yeah. I had a client, a total squirrel story, but I think it's worth it. I have a client who had his poop emoji mailbox blown up. Yeah, like literally. He had a poop emoji mailbox and somebody blew it up. That's funny. All right, so we got the two big bears. So spring's coming on. Finally, after this long winter in the house, and Pa goes to town. He has so many skins, he's carrying them in like on his shoulders, and he can't carry his rifle at the same time.
No, that's not good.
Right now, you're in the snow like that. That sucks, and snow that's like half melted. So you're like trying to walk on the top, and you keep sinking because you have all this weight on you. Oh, it's the worst hiking ever. But Laura goes out to help Ma with the chores, and it's dim light because Pa was supposed to be back by then. and they think the cow's out of the barn, so Mom gives it a smack on the butt to get it moving. And she's like, Laura, get back to the house, like, right now. Laura's like, okay, Mom said do this. She goes right away. It was a bear. Mom just, like, smacked a bear.
Oh, that was great.
That would be crazy sauce. When we lived in California up in the foothills, we used to have the black bears that would come in and, be our garbage cans. I didn't have a line of sight on it because my new car was directly behind the garbage cans of the bear. So I'm like, obviously, I'm not going to shoot the bear. And honestly, I'm a hunter. So if I wasn't prepared to use every piece of that bear for, taking its life, then I'm not going to take its life too. So, like pots and pans and stuff. But I'd get pretty close to them. We had the balcony deck. Walk right out with that pan, and man, they go Scooby-Doo running. You start banging it. Oh, yeah. Get out of here. And we got rid of the bear. It stayed around our house too much. It was acting like a predator bear. It was just hanging out too often. So I did fire a shot, to the left of it, just to really give it the message that, hey, you're not welcome here. And it went down and, like, ripped the wall off my neighbor's garage to get to the dog food inside. Yeah. We would also have them, like, come for our duck pens. And they would reach up and rip the fencing down. So I did, like, 2x4s that had nails through them. So when they reached up, it would be spiky, They didn't like that very much. So that's a good bear trick to keep them away from things you don't want them to get their hands on. They have really soft pads, so they don't like that very much. Mm-hmm. Just did, like, a whole bunch of backwards nails, sticking out.
Could you run an electric wire?
I'm like sure you could, but they're pretty thick-skinned. Like, I know even with my chows, or fur, I mean, when their fur is really thick, it has to, like, really press against them to make that contact and for the shock to hit. So, yeah, I've found more success with those backwards nail boards. Although I didn't try the electric. I'm sure you could have. And they use it, like, if people are out camping and stuff. I've seen, like, a perimeter setup you can set around your camp that is an electrified system.
Yeah, solar fence.
Uh-huh. Yep. So, okay, so that was one bear. And then Pa is on his way home with no rifle.
This was a good one, too.
And he sees this bear, and he has no rifle.
He waits and he tries to wait him out.
Yep, he's trying to wait him out. And then he's like, man, I got to get through this area. And if I go around him, he's just going to be stalking me. So he just mans up. He's going after this bear. Just get out of here. Ends up picking up a club, like a branch to go aggro at this bear. And it was a stump.
He charges it. It doesn't move.
I can see how that would happen, like in the dusk time when you're all, like, freaked out about it, and then I can buy that.
Was it Laura saying how her parents were both so brave? One smacked the bear, and it was thinking it was a cow, and then the other one smacked the stump thinking it was a bear.
Yeah. Those were
that was
cute
pretty
stories.
funny too.
Yeah, very, very cute stories. So, my thought is, we're already encroaching. I like everybody. Oh, it was their territory first, whatever. No, because any bear that's born now, like your house was probably there before that bear was born. I'm just saying. So it's just a matter of we have more and more humans proliferating more and more areas. We're going to run into each other a little bit more. And bears are also very opportunistic. So if there's, like, fishing areas where there's lots of guts lying around and stuff, and places where they know they're going to be able to get fed, they're going to come to that area, no doubt. I have quite a bit of bear stories, actually, from California, now that I think about it. So I'm not going to go off all day. But so I looked up some statistics on, like, how often this happens, because I know, like, up in Alaska it becomes a problem at certain times of year when hunters are out hunting and things like that. And the bears know that, oh, this hunter just took down a deer. I could go get their deer, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Mm-hmm. But it happens. So there, from some of the information that I found, this was from petpedia.co. They did a bunch of research from different sources. And there's 664 bear attacks on people globally. That was from 2000 to 215. And then more than 50% of those were like female bears with cubs. That's your most dangerous situation right there. There's 40 bear attacks around the world every year on average. So that's really not very many, right? I've seen some natural disasters. We've reported about them on the show that, take out 112 people, things like that. So 40 bear attacks around the world every year is not a really significant number. 19 in the East. I was interested in this, though, is Russia, Turkey, and Iran. I don't know. I just wasn't thinking about like a bear in Iran. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm thinking more of like a scorpion or something. So I guess I need to do some more geology or some geography training up on those areas, some more topographical map studying. Not an area I would associate with having bears. 18 in Europe. So they still have a fair amount of bears in Europe. And then 11 in North America. So we actually have like the fewest, even though we have a fair amount of bears in our area. Mm-hmm. In Yosemite, there's been like a 98% reduction between 1998 and 2020, just because of new methods of making sure people aren't leaving food around, more education of the public.
Training the people, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Bear boxes. They do the food storage up in the trees and stuff now. So when the bear gets the message that, hey, you're not wanted and there's no food here, they're going to, find someplace else where there is food. Yep. In Yosemite, there was 22 human bear incidents in 2019. But there's 4.4 million visitors to that park during that year as well, right? So out of 4.4 million visitors, there was 22 human bear incidents. That's pretty darn good. Those were some of the lowest numbers ever.
The other thing that got me with that is, so they think the average 40 bear attacks, right?
Yeah. For
a year worldwide.
Right.
And then in that year,
but in that year,
19, 20, over half of them were in Yosemite.
Right. And so they got the numbers from all different sources too. I found another one like that. And then in 2020, it was up 65%. So, I mean, that's blowing your average numbers up right there. Outliers or something. Yeah. Because I was like, I thought the same thing when I saw the numbers. I was like, really? Okay. But if you looked at the average of like 20 years, maybe it would be there. Some years better than others. There was
better for the bear or better for the human?
Probably.
Bear's like, we got to get our numbers up. Everybody to Yosemite.
Yeah, right. We got to get our numbers up. More picnic baskets. Boo boo. We're slipping.
And then Canada. Did you see Canada?
Yeah.
They must have friendly bears up there because their numbers were low.
Super low.
Yeah.
I think it's because of the vast space, right? Like bears have tons of space to be them without having to interact with humans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only 4. And that was in Ontario, Canada.
Yeah.
In the last 100 years. Yeah. Ontario is kind of like the city area of it.
But only 4 in 100 years.
Right? In 100 years. Those Canadians.
They've been drinking all that Canadian beer up there.
Yeah, they're so peaceful.
They're just like laid back.
Yep. They're just like, hey, what up? Only 2 fatal black bear attacks on the Appalachian Trail from 2000 to 2016. And that trail is traveled by a lot of people.
And those people like hike with all their food and stuff. I mean,
for like the whole,
a lot of those
long.
Those through hikers. Yeah. They so it's not just people day hiking that don't really have. They have like a lot of stuff, but it's all on how you secure your food.
Yeah, absolutely. absolutely. And, making sure that the scent doesn't go out. Making sure that kind of stuff. Oh, Intrepid Commander's with us.
Nice.
Oh,
Give them some more nightmares.
the calling the bears out by their colors, Yeah, that we have to watch what we say on the air. That could be misstrued there. Oh. 23 fatal bear attacks in the U.S. between 2000 and 2016. So, and almost all of them happened on mountain trails, and normally it's because of mama with babies. So, since 1979, that was a really good year, by the way. Really good year. Grizzly bears have injured 44 people since 2019. And the parks hosted like 118 million people. So, I mean, the chances of getting is,
Yeah, but if you're one of those.
1 in 2.7. Yeah. Some of those attacks were gnarly pictures. Oh, my gosh. Yellowstone, there's only been 8 people fatally injured there since it opened in 1872, but 121 have drowned and 21 have died of burns from the hot springs. Yeah, falling into the hot springs water. Stay away from there.
Jeez.
The 4 in Canada. Okay, so Alaska news source was like, from 2000 to 2017, there was 46 attacks in North America. 46 attacks equaled 48 deaths, though. Okay? So 46 attacks equal... So, I mean, some bears were killing like 2 people in that attack. They're like overachievers.
They're the MMA bears.
That's right. They've been out there training. Their claws are sharp. Black bears were 25 and brown were 2. However, the Alaska DHSS reported that there was 66 bear attacks in Alaska from 2000 to 2017. So that's even more than what the other one said. And
yeah, but Alaska's got 5 to 10 moose attacks a year. So
yeah, but it's still in North America, so it should have added into those other numbers. It was the same time period.
Oh, and Bambi. Did you see the one about Bambi?
Oh, I did. I'm getting there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, however, mosquitoes
they had to put mosquitoes
cause 750,000 deaths each year.
Yeah, worldwide.
So you should be way more afraid of a mosquito than a bear. And deer, 120 deaths annually. Hippos, 3,000 deaths annually. I just picked some of them out.
Yeah.
And then the most dangerous mammal is an elephant. They kill 100 to 500 people. Oh, no. Why would that be? Because hippos were more.
Yeah.
Huh. I'll have to look back at my numbers.
Oh.
They said it was the elephant. Yeah. I don't know about that one. Those were some crazy bear numbers.
What's the thing about the wolf attacks? How come they're saying that there's only been 2 wolf attacks in North America?
I don't know. I don't hear about. Oh, what about chiggers? I don't know. I hope not, because there's a lot of them down here.
Oh my goodness, chiggers. Don't even say that.
Right? So the key is, guys, you got to be situationally aware. And what I didn't realize till I started frequenting the local zoo where they had black bears and whatnot, is black bears can actually climb really, really high in trees. So when you're like walking through the woods, you can't just look down. You need to look up too.
And you can't just climb a tree to get away from them.
No, they'll climb up right behind you. Yeah. So, the bear tracks are actually sometimes really difficult to see because they do have really soft pads. They spread out really big. So unless it's like soft mud or snow or a loamy that it's really gonna press down into because of their weight, chances are you're not gonna really see that print. They have 5 toes, just kind of like a human hand, except for that thumb is up there at the top, at the top as well. Mm-hmm. They tend to toe in, so they tend to walk kind of with their toes to the inside. And their front track will be wider than the rear, but the rear is going to be longer. Because the front, they put weight down, but the back leg they're pushing off with. And they tend to step in front of their front feet with their back feet when they walk. So it can look like it's just one huge print. Like, that's the hugest bear ever, man. I saw this print, right? But it's just the print blending together. It's called a double print. Often coyotes, too, will walk in their own prints. So they do follow human roads and trails, but they also make their own trails. So you got to look for the rub trees that they have. They like to rub their backs on trees, and the mature males will actually claw and bite the tree to leave their scent, so that when the female bear comes along, she's like, "Wow, that's great," because who doesn't love a little tree scent? These trees, they won't have a lot of vegetation at the bottom because they step on it a whole bunch, and often it leans towards the trail. That was interesting. And so you should be looking for hair that's stuck on the tree. You're going to be able to see that more than the claw marks and stuff, and it's true. They also really like utility poles. So one of my pieces of advice, especially in the South, is that along the telephone where they have electrical lines and stuff like that, they've cleared the paths in between. And a lot of people aren't going to be traveling those routes. They're people in a SHTF situation, will be thinking more about roadways and stuff like that. But the electrical lines, that'll be a pretty clear trail. Lots of places to hide, so you have to watch out for, all kinds of people and bears and all that stuff. But it could be a lot easier thoroughfare. So when I heard about the telephone poles, that they like the utility poles, I was like, oops, there's one more thing you need to be careful of when you're taking that route, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but those paths are really, really nice. A lot of times they're cleared out and you can just use them. All right, droppings. So if you haven't seen like bear droppings, it can really vary. I mean, it can be just berries in a big pile, or it can be like tubular, kind of like a dog, depending on what they've been eating.
Cheeseburgers.
Yeah. If they're eating picnic baskets, probably it's going to smell a little worse than if they're just eating berries and stuff like that. Also straddle trees. I found this pretty interesting. And I just never thought about it before. When bears walk along, a lot of the times they like to straddle over a tree and press it down and walk across it. And they actually like rub their scent on it and pee on it a little. Like they think it's great. So you can also look for those types of things. And then look for hair, bent limbs, and the hair around that. When they eat, they'll make like a little nest up in the tree. Sometimes this is the black bears. So black bears are most prevalent in our area, unless you're listening to me like up in Alaska or something like that. When they sleep in the summer, they like cool, damp, mossy areas away from people and away from other beds. And then, of course, a bear den doesn't have to be like a cave. It could be just a depression, like 2 to 4 feet in diameter. It could just be a hole in the ground or under a tree root. So you really have to be aware, look for accumulation of leaves and stuff like that. And then their advice was to dampen your hand and kind of rub it around on those leaves. And if it collects hair, then like you're in a bad area. You probably should be someplace else.
You need one of those, those like those tape roller things that you.
Yeah. The lint picker-upper deals. Yeah, that's true. For when you're hiking.
Put it on the end of your walking stick.
Well, you got duct tape, right? So you just put that duct tape backwards around your hand, you're all set.
Yep.
All right. So threatening behavior from a bear. So like the was it the pet thing? No, it was the other one that you sent me to.
There was some bear organization, bear.org.
Yeah, bear.org. And they were like, the bears just getting nervous.
Yeah, was it?
A bluster. They bluster.
Yeah, bluster.
And when they blow loudly and they'll slam their front feet down, and the bears are just concerned, and it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to attack.
Yeah, they're like so nervous they don't know how else to react. I'm like, okay.
So, Most likely to happen when it's mothers and cubs involved and hungry bears. And when is the attack most likely to happen, Mr. Scientist? You know, I was like, I don't know. Because he's like, oh, you just slowly back away while waving your arms. And I'm like, no. So you can. I mean, I've been like aggressed down on a bear that was while we were fishing and tried to get between me and the group. And so that was actually a situation where I picked my son up and ran to the group because strength in numbers. Most of the people that were killed, 50% of the victims are alone, and 50%, the other 50% are normally in groups of 2 or less, which is 1.
2
right?
or less. Yeah. Let me do that math real quick.
So if you're, strength in numbers, there's always strength in numbers, right? So if you're going to go hiking, stuff like that, take more people with you. See if you can do a roundup of some of your friends and go out together. And it definitely is going to deter a bear from coming in. If
you don't have to wear like the bells.
Yeah.
Little jingle bells.
Yep. I put a jingle bell on my walking stick. Right. If I'm not, out trying to hunt or something like that, I definitely put a bell on my walking stick. You can just hang it from it. It helps for other things too, like snakes and whatnot. So really, they don't want to encounter you. They don't want to.
So you don't startle them. Yeah.
Typically, yeah. So if it's like they were like, okay, so speaking of calm voice, so that rings true in a couple different places. But if a bear charges, hold your ground and stay calm.
Reach for the toilet paper after the bear turns around.
Yes. Don't take off running because that's the worst. Don't do that. Like
that's the worst with anything.
Yeah.
Dogs,
right?
They just want to chase you.
Yep. So don't do that. Slowly retreat, keeping your eye on the bear. Keep talking, making it clear you're a human and not a threat. So this is coming from the nps.gov now. So never run. That is the worst thing you can do. They do make awesome bear spray. That sprays 30 feet. It's really good stuff. And you can use that on people too. But don't use it in a way other than suggested on the label. Because you did not
it
hear
was
that
a bear
from the Changing Earth podcast. But yeah, don't run at all. I also carried air horns sometimes, things like that. They don't like the loud noises. And then of course my shotgun, if all else fails.
Nice.
Well, like I say, if I shoot something, man, I'm going to have to be prepared to gut that animal, skin that animal, especially a bear, dude. You got to make use of it. So if you're not ready to use it, then try anything non-lethal before you have to defend yourself and kill that animal. So they were saying, though, if the bear is doing the stomping and it's clicking its teeth at you and stuff, as soon as its ears go flat and its head goes down, that bear is going to hit you like a freight train. So if it's a brown bear, if it's a black bear and it charges, this is a black bear. You guys got to know the difference. Some of them look a lot alike. If the bear charges, fight back with everything you have. Don't play dead. Punches and kicks to the bear's face and use weaponry. So sticks, whatever you can grab, rocks. And because I think it's because the black bear, they'll play with you longer, right? If you do the play dead. But if it's a grizzly bear or a brown bear, then you want to play dead. Don't fight back. So you basically go to the fetal position, with your hands over your neck, guarding that, elbows across your head so that you protect all that. Lie on your stomach, keep your backpack on, and stay still and quiet so they know you're not a threat. When the bear leaves, don't get up right away. If you do fight back, it better be with everything you have. So can you imagine you're just I don't know, you left something in your shorts.
You?
Yeah. And then it walks away, man. I would take all everything in me not to get up and be like, holy shit. All right, if you surprised a bear, don't back away. Or no, If you surprise a bear, back away calmly and don't make eye contact. So that can be like,
does the bear have an ego?
yes. Yeah.
Don't
and
look
he's
at
like,
me. Are you looking at me?
Are you plotting on me?
Oh,
Are you plotting on me, boy?
it's on.
Coming to take you out. So yeah.
Care with
Speak
attitude.
slowly and calmly. So, and there are bears that do stalk people. There are bears that have lost their fear of humans and they will go for humans. So if a bear is stalking you, be ready for a fight. Curious bears are not in a defensive mindset. They're ready to attack prey. And if they attack, you have to just fight back with everything you have, or else you might not make it to the next day. So that's the bear attack. When bears attack, I do not want to ever have to fight a bear. That would not be fun. And the pictures are not pleasant of people who have tried it. There was this guy trying to make a bear suit. Like, you know how they have the shark suits?
Yeah.
He was trying to make like a bear suit so he could go into a den and like the bear could just maul him or whatever and he would still be okay.
How'd that work out?
I haven't heard much from that guy in recent years. I'll have to check back in on it. I saw like this history program on it. It was crazy. They were like trying to like, see if the suit could withstand the force of it and everything. So
yeah,
interesting stuff. So mosquitoes, of course, are way worse, and they carry a lot more diseases than bears do. So just be respectful of them, and always keep your sidearm on you, kind of thing.
Yeah, I just did a search. What's the best caliber handgun?
45,
44 Magnum, 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. The 500 is the preferred for guides and outfitters.
Okay.
The Glock 10 millimeter seems to be okay. Yeah.
Carry a big gun.
Yep.
Yeah, or the shotgun, I just...
Shotgun with a slug.
Yeah, I do double aughts. 2 rounds of double aught, no slug behind it. So
yeah, slug behind it, yep.
Yeah. If the double aught hasn't, proven its point yet, then that slug's coming next.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for being with us today and bearing with us. It's always nice to have you around. And until next time, remember, dream,
survive,
thrive.
Thank you for joining Sarah and Chen for this episode of the Changing Earth podcast. Don't forget to pick up your copy of Day After Disaster at www.authorSarahFHathaway.com. If you love the Changing Earth series and podcast,